What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys the next round of the recent singles tournament I won at SAC Anime about a month and a half ago. We're going up against John. This is the guy that normally wins these tournaments or always makes the finals. He's been using the same team for a while, and it's that super bulky team that you just hate to fight. Like, it has a Mega Slowbro, of course. It has Porygon 2 with Evilite and Amanda Buzz, and these are it's the most gross team to fight against ever. And this is the longest game ever. I'm going to be skipping a bunch of the turns in this game because it just takes so freaking long. And I'm going to give a spoil. I end up PP stalling a bunch of his Pokemon with the pressure on my Suicune. So I'm just going to start this one off, get right into it. And either way, this is an actual good game, but I'm forced to PP stall the stall guy. And I know he probably wasn't that happy about it, but I actually think pressure is a pretty good ability, especially in these types of situations. So starting things off, we see a Mold Breaker Excadrill against my Choice Scarf Darmanitan, and I think he knows that I'm Scarf Darmanitan because I've used it for so long. He's just going to switch out, go right into his Porygon 2, and I'm like, well, if he sets up hazards, that's fine, but I don't want to deal with Sash Excadrill, so I'm just going to go for U-turn. That would A, break the Sash on the Excadrill, or if he switched like he does here, I can go into a more favorable matchup. So since we're going to be fighting against a Porygon 2 with an Evilite, we know it's not going to have those leftovers. We know its HP is a very valuable source. We're going to come in with Tyranitar, start up our Sandstream, and then start ticking down that Porygon. You remember, each tick of Sandstorm is so much more valuable against these Evilite Pokemon because they have such a lower base HP. So I'm just going to taunt him just because I can, and I know that even though I think he has the special attack boost, there's no way he's breaking my T-Tar. T-Tar is fine, and we get 2 turns of the Sandstorm. That's awesome, as well as the taunt. It's going to force this guy out because he's probably expecting me to start putting up Stealth Rocks or something like that. Maybe he expected, something else weird, but I'm just going to go for that big Dragon Dance. This is one of those full-speed special attack Tyranitars, and it is out to deal that damage. And speaking of damage, Slowbro is the calling card of this guy's team. It's definitely his major Pokemon that he based his whole team around. Remember, this guy is kind of like Suicune, everything Suicune resembles, but better because it has Shell Armor, which means once it gets set up with those 6 Calm Mines, you can't crit it to KO it. But fortunately, we deal that huge damage with a stabbed, super effective Crunch. It's not going to get the KO. He's going to go for a Retaliation Scald on me. Fortunately, it doesn't burn, but I actually had a Lumberry anyways, just for situations like this. And my T-Tar's made to fight Rotoms, but I'll fight Slowbros as well, and we're going to force that Slowbro to switch out, going into the Sylveon here, and this is where I make a super good play. I went for Rock Slide, expecting the Slowbro. I know that Slowbro's very important to him, and we get the crit here, but I knew he wasn't going to fodder it, and I was like, well, I can probably also just KO with this +1 Rock Slide. He switches into Sylveon. I get a +1 Rock Slide KO. I don't think I needed the crit, but then Mandibuzz comes in here, and this is my most hated Pokemon to fight against ever. This thing is so bulky. Look, I'm at a +1 stabbed Rock Slide, and I still couldn't one-shot that thing. He's going to fire back a Foul Play, which scales off my own attack, and that means my T-Tar is finally going to go down. I almost had the game within, my reaches, and it didn't work. So Mandibuzz is on the board. He's at roughly 20%, but don't let that fool you. That Mandibuzz will live through any physical attack that isn't the strongest thing in the world. So I have to send out the strongest thing in the world, which is Darmanitan, and fire a huge stabbed Flare Blitz into that guy. And I think that just barely KO'd, to be completely honest, because Mandibuzz is just ridiculously bulky. So we've KO'd the Mandibuzz, KO'd the Sylveon, and we're gonna see Slowbro come out here, and I'm like, alright, I'm feeling myself. I'm gonna go for another Flare Blitz. Maybe I'll crit. Maybe, I'll just do enough damage. Maybe I'll just do enough damage, and I totally don't do enough damage. And that was pretty bad. It's gonna let him get a Slack Off. I wish he just scalded me, to be completely honest. But yeah, he gets the Slack Off, and this is one of the reasons why this game takes so long. I think I didn't really make an error by going for the Flare Blitz there, because he was going to get the Slack Off regardless. I took a gamble on a crit, which, isn't the worst thing in the world, but I did make a pretty bad play by switching into my Garchomp here. I don't really know why I switched to Garchomp. Maybe I was switching there to block a Scald, which happened, and then I got burned, and then I was like, wait, oh no, he's just going to set up on me. But then fortunately for me, he switches. He totally just could have set up on my Garchomp, and I would have lost the game, I think. Well, maybe not lost the game, but he could have set up on me. He could have got a few Calm Minds off. I mean, there's nothing Garchomp can really do against Slowbro at this point. So he's going to switch out into his Porygon, and I'm like, I'm going to go Mega just because I'm going to try to deal what little damage I can. And Porygon's going to take decent damage from this. It looks like he's probably a bit of a mixed wall. And I'm hoping, I'm like, hey, can you just KO me, please? I get 2 earthquakes off, and that's awesome. But I just want you to KO my Garchomp because at this point I don't want you setting up on me. So he goes for that Ice Beam. Thankfully my Garchomp is going to go down to this, and I think it's now finally time to stop messing around and just win the game. I'm going to send out my Suicune here. Remember, this is a Sleep Talk Suicune with Scald, Rest, and, you know, all those good moves. Calm Mind, of course. And I'm just going to go for my first Scald of this game, and I get the... I'm 1 for 1 in burns, and that's I think all the Scalds in this game have burned so far. So I burn him, he Toxics me back, and it's definitely better luck than last game where I just went probably like 1 in 10 for burns with Scald. So we get a burn on a Porygon. Remember, this guy's HP is very valuable, so Porygon's pretty much done so at this point. I'm like, you know, if he wants to recover, he can. If he wants to attack, he can. I really don't care what that Porygon does. I'm just going to start setting up. So speaking of setting up, I just go for a Calm Mind because I need a couple Calm Minds once that Slowbro comes out to keep the advantage going, and then I'm going to have to try to burn the Slowbro with the Scald if I want to win the game. So this guy sends out a Scizor. I fought against a Scizor last round that was very fast, so I'm like, I know I should be faster than these things. So I'm gonna play like I am faster than them. So Scizor comes in and he goes for a Bullet Punch on my Suicune. And I'm like, that did a lot of damage for a Bullet Punch. I'm a full HP defense Suicune. Why'd that do so much? And I'm like, why'd he even bring in Scizor in the first place? And I get another burn, which means we're 3 for 3 in burns this series. I mean, him and me combined. But then I'm thinking, is that a banded Scizor? Is that really a banded Scizor? So I have to assume at this point that, yeah, it's probably banded, or else he, you know, maybe he thought I was going to do something else. Maybe he thought I was going to switch. And I'm just not afraid of that Pokemon, so I'm forcing him to switch because Banded Scizor, that definitely confirms my suspicions, is pretty useless. It's time for Slowbro to come in here, and on the switch to Slowbro, I go for a Rest. And Rest is going to get rid of my Poison, it's going to restore me back up to full, and it's at this point that I feel like I've definitely stabilized, I've definitely taken back control of this game. I have a couple Calm Minds off, and the Slowbro's not burned, but with the luck I've had this game, you know I'm gonna, like, burn him eventually. I go for a Sleep Talk, I hit a Scald, Scald makes contact on the Slowbro, does pretty good damage, and do I burn the first one? Whew! Oh my gosh, I feel so bad, like, rewatching this replay. I get the burn off, he's going for Calm Minds. Now, remember, I think Slowbro is definitely, like, a better Suicune in a lot of regards, Mega Slowbro, because it has the Shell Armor, which means once you get to those +6, you can't get crit. But fortunately for us, he's not running a Sleep Talk set. He has like Calm Mind, he has like Scald. I know he has Fire Blast and Slack Off. So he has Fire Blast on there probably just for like Ferrothorns and stuff like that. So his Slowbro is really good, but there's no way he's actually going to be able to beat the Suicune. I'm sure anyone who actually plays singles realizes that he'd have to crit me like 3 times with Scalds back to back to back, in between me not resting, because once you get like a +6 and once you go for those Scalds, it's only going to be doing about 40%. So you have to hit me with like 3 crit Scalds, and there's just no way because Suicune has pressure, and that's going to make all his PP that he uses when he goes for Scalds, when he goes for all his moves and stuff like that, it does double. So I've been counting this, I have like a notebook out, I'm like, alright, he used Scald this turn, oh, he used Fire Blast this turn, this is how many he has left, and it's at this point in the game, we're already 20 turns in, I pretty much just PP stall his Slowbro, because there's nothing he can do, and even though my Suicune has been out on the board longer, I'm not going to PP out myself, because what I can do is I can go for Rest, and I don't even have to Sleep Talk. I can just not make moves for 2 turns, and that'll give me even more PP. So that's one way to play this matchup. That's why Suicune is like the best Pokemon in the game. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fast forward the game by like 12 or 13 turns, because it's literally just me PP stalling this guy. So I'm going to go all the way to like the mid-30s turns, and it always takes forever when you are skipping turns. I know my camera just phased out right there. It always takes forever when you're going through turns in a battle like this, but I still think it's also a good feature to be able to skip turns in battles because, oh my gosh, this was just going forever. Note that he still has like Porygon, he still has a burned Scizor, I think Porygon's also burned, and he also still has the Excadrill, so he still has a bunch of Pokemon. I don't think he should have come in with the Slowbro just yet. And then once he got PP'd out with Slowbro, he like tried to switch out and do a bunch of other stuff, which we're gonna see. Alright, here we are. We're finishing the end of the Slowbro Stall Wars. You see, he's getting kinda low, and I think he's almost out of like all his offensive moves. Like he has Fire Blast and Scald, those are the only way he can deal damage, and he's almost out of those moves, whereas I've been saving my Scalds till like this point in the game. So yeah, these are probably his last few Scalds. And it's going to come in, it just doesn't do the damage. It just literally doesn't do the damage unless you get the crit, and you need to get multiple crits back to back to back in between me sleeping. Like I can't use a rest on like the third one. So he's super low, and it's at that point, well, I could just yeah, I think I actually PP'd out all of his slack offs. So I could have just scalded there, and he comes with the extra drill. Extra drill's still at full. So I was also thinking, like, because I actually am going to play this guy later and then get in the tournament, and I don't remember this part of the replay. I go for a sleep talk here, and unfortunately I get a rest, but I think this is my last turn of sleep talk. So I want to know if the extra has a sash. I don't actually remember. So that's one thing that I remember about looking at this replay for. So we're going to see Rock Slide coming from the extra drill. Not really doing a lot. I guess he's trying to flinch hacks me, but I'm going to wake up. I'm going to pop a Scald. I still have extra Scalds in the tank, and looks like he doesn't hold a sash. That's just one thing to know for later on in the series. Doesn't really matter, I already played these, are already replays, but it's one thing to know. I think that Sash Extra Drill, when you lead with it, is actually really, really strong. So Extra Drill goes down, Slowbro's pretty useless, Scissor's burned, and so is Porygon if it's still alive. So you can tell that this game is going to get wrapped up by a Suicune who just got out of control. So Scizor goes down, he's not even going to go for that Bullet Punch, he probably went for the U-turn there. And there's not really that much else to say. This was a super long game, and I actually am going to fight this guy later again in the tournament, because this is semifinals of the tournament, I think. After this is, yeah, he just ran right there. He had a couple more Pokemon left, but there's no way he was going to win. This was, let me think. This is semis, because after this round is going to be winners finals, and then I'm going to defeat that guy, and then after that is going to be grand finals, where I actually play against this guy again. And our next game is actually a lot different. It's not nearly as long. We both realize that it's going to be that Slowbro versus Suicune matchup. We go for that almost immediately, and then the game's decided after. So let me know what you guys think about this game in the comments below. What do you guys think about Suicune versus Slowbro? Do you think I did the right thing by PP stalling him with my pressure ability, or do you think I should have just got stalled out and lost? I really don't know. I don't feel bad for doing it, because, you know, I'm the one running all offensive Pokemon. He's the one running like 5 walls and an Excadrill. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.